One thing I will say, touching on last night's game, okay, I thought everything about last night's game showed what is wrong with the National Hockey League, okay? And
here we go.
Oh, fuck, Bruno. This is one of those moments I've always said with certain topics, I'd love to talk to the boardroom. I'd love to sit in front of the boardroom, ask them this question and see what the answer is or what the response is or the explanation. So last night, you had the Toronto Maple Leafs, the team that is the absolute cash cow of the National Hockey League, playing an original six opponent at home. And everyone listening knows how expensive Leafs tickets are. If you want to go see a game live in Toronto, it's crazy. I'm pretty sure it's either us or the Rangers who are the most expensive in the league. And the game, for the most part, was meaningless. Absolutely meaningless, to the point that the Leafs healthy scratched 3 players that otherwise would be in the lineup. And this is not a situation where there's 2 games to go or 1 game to go. As of yesterday, there's 8 games to go?
The Leafs had 6 games left. So they had 7 games left heading into last night's game against the Red Wings.
Yeah, and people can say like, oh, they're still going for home ice, and they are. But the fact of the matter is, this happened. So who does this benefit? And I've been complaining about this playoff format forever, ever since they initiated it. And the immediate response you always get from people is they think you're upset at it because of the opponent you're getting. Like, oh, they be getting so-and-so anyway. No, that's not the point. Someone brought up, pulled out the calendar. I think it was no team in the division has been within 5 points of either Tampa or Toronto since December. We've known like the entire season that they were going to play each other. And here we are with games left, and you have a team resting players. So you had people last night who maybe they take their kid to 1 game a year and they fork out the cash for that 1 game, or they get tickets from their boss or so-and-so who has season tickets. Who knows? Maybe it was someone's first Leaf game last night. They're going to see an original 6 opponent and Mitch Marner's not playing. That's an absolute joke. And people can throw shade at the Leafs for that, saying, your customers deserve more, but the Leafs don't make the rules. If it's beneficial for the team long-term, they're going to do it. And I wouldn't blame any team for doing it. It's just, if the league needed something to see, to slap them in the face and tell them that this format is wrong, it was last night. Because who does that benefit? No one. Absolutely no one.
No, it's pathetic. I couldn't agree more. Heading into last night's game against the Red Wings, the Leafs had 7 games to go. And the Leafs didn't give a shit about this game. The fans didn't care about this game. It's just not right. And saying all that, you could look at the Western Conference and say, well, the opposite is happening. The Central Division is still up for grabs. The Pacific Division is still up for grabs. The wild card is still up for grabs. The Eastern Conference wild card race is tight as well. But for the most part, the Eastern Conference is decided. And you just can't have this happening. I don't care if it's 1 division or it's only happening in 2 divisions. You shouldn't have this happening, period, Lepore, where literally for 3 or 4 months, 2 teams know that they are going to be playing each other in the first round. Yeah. It does not sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with you. It doesn't sit well with a lot of hockey fans. And again, it's not complaining about, well, the Leafs got to play Tampa again in the first round. Sure, that's a little bit of a factor. People are pissed off about that as well, because that's also kind of stupid that the Leafs have to play a team that's been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals in the first round. Now, Tampa, as it stands, they sit 12th in the NHL in terms of points percentage. They're not having this great season by any means, but it's about knowing who your opponent's going to be for months. Nothing changing in the standings. There's no jockeying for position. It's just the same thing for 3 to 4 months. And it's funny because everyone talks about how the regular season doesn't matter for the Leafs. We all know they're great in the regular season, right? Every year, 100+ points. Matthews and Marner have great seasons. Everyone's like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the playoffs. Well, I mean, this is just making things even worse at this point.
Yeah, fair
You're
enough.
already saying that the regular season doesn't matter for the Leafs. Now it doesn't even matter that much more because they've known they're playing Tampa. So it's like, what are we even judging at this point?
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
People bash on Leaf fans. Oh, you guys are overanalyzing the team during the regular season. None of this matters. Well, of course none of it matters if you know that you're playing Tampa since the end of November, early December. It's awful, Lepore, and the NHL, I think, needs to address this. The sad thing is Gary Bettman thinks that this is phenomenal for hockey.
Yeah.
And they're not going to address anything.
Yeah. Something I even thought of, like, watching this game was, as I said, the Leafs have been playing really well, but they haven't necessarily been rewarded for it and putting up wins. Can you imagine the Leafs had another 6 or 8 points? So it wouldn't even be a matter of battling for home ice. It would just be, we know who's going to play and we know who's going to get home ice. It's terrible. It's terrible. And you mentioned like the matchup thing. I think as of yesterday, if we had the 1 versus 8 format, the Leafs would be playing the Rangers. So, I mean, the Rangers could be a harder opponent than Tampa. But again, that's not the point. But it'd be exciting during this last stretch of, oh my God, who are we going to play? Who are other teams going to play? What does our bracket look like? It'd be amazing. I remember, again, like I sound like an old person. Remember back in the day, you'd be watching the last night of the regular season, and when the games are done, it was like, who's playing each other? Because it came down to that. It was
like, what's the playoff bracket? Then you're thinking about like your hockey pool that you're going to join, and now which players are you going to pick? There were so many implications, and it all came down to the final couple games of the regular season.
Yeah, I guess. And again, what hurt, I mentioned how no team has been within 5 points of either team since December, but what also hurt the situation is Boston just kicking the shit out of everyone all year and even being way ahead of the Leafs this whole time. So just a bad situation. And sometimes bad things have to happen for people to really look in the mirror and acknowledge they've made a mistake. And that goes only for hockey. It goes for life and everywhere else. So hopefully someone's bringing this up in the boardroom at the National Hockey League in New York to get this fixed, because it's about the fans, it's about the customers, and it sucks straight up. Who likes this format? Who argues for this format? Comment down below. Somebody comment down below and tell me the benefit of this format. Please, I beg you, because I'd love to hear something.
Sidney Crosby has come out, the face of hockey. And I get it. You could say Connor McDavid's the best player in the world. I think McDavid's the best player in the world, but Sidney Crosby is still the face of this league. He has come out and said that this playoff format sucks. Yeah, he Crosby's didn't say sucks exactly. I mean, he said it in a nicer way, but he doesn't like the playoff format. If Sidney Crosby is coming out and saying that, I think it's time to look in the mirror and maybe make some changes.
Yeah. It's brutal, man. They have to.